Hi, I'm IKEA, and for today's video, we're going to have our third installment of Things and Stuffs, where we'll go over things that are interesting and stuffs that may be useful. So yes, let's dive right in. And to start off with, if you ever need to cool down a little bit, have yourself a little bit of a tiny swim, although it is a tiny swim because there isn't much space here. You can always come down here, and this place is just outside of the safe house in Two Bridges. It is a little bit across from it. It is in that little bit of a dig site that they have. And yeah, you can walk right in and just have yourself a bath. This is always a spot that I kind of just show people as a, you know, just a fun place. And also, if you actually get your camera underneath it, we see the magic of gaming happening, of gaming engines, which is that water, of course, is only one way. As we all know, water only flows not when you're underneath it, because that's, of course, it is only viewable from above. But yeah, just some oddity and yeah, a cool thing that you can do whenever you're in this spot. And here's another spot where we can wade a little bit, not as deep as the previous one, but as they have actually altered this spot, as you could go a little bit deeper, but they seem to have fixed that. So, you know, Project Resolve getting in our way again. And this is in this little corner all the way down here. There's often here elite territory control. In this little corner down here, you can, you know, wash your feet whenever you're here, because also, yeah, wash your feet. You're running around a lot. They get dirty. Let's move on to some other things. And as a thing between a thing and a stuffs, as it's somewhat useful, I feel a lot of players have missed this loadouts button here in the apparel screen, as we also have loadouts for our apparel. And you can actually make sets and save them here. We have up to 16. It works basically the same way as loadouts for gear. And yeah, you can load them at any time. And just if you want to save a loadout, because for instance, with my characters, I have somewhat set clothing for them. But if I wanted to save that and maybe run a little bit, you know, be a little bit of a traitor in some ways, we can do that. Or, you know, even try to be edgelordy and tactical. We can do that as well. And everything gets saved in here, including your patch as well. So you can even play around with your patches. And yeah, it's actually a really handy thing to know. Another handy stuff to know is that if you go into the spray can here, you can actually apply colors to all of your gear at once. So annoyingly, the sliding slider here does not work, so you can't just scroll to the bottom where all of the gear skins are. So you have to kind of go through all of the weapon skin, the specialization weapon skins at the top, these weapon skins, and then the universal weapon skins. And eventually you'll hit this part where gear dice come in. And yeah, you can actually first, of course, preview here, which is kind of handy. This is the place I go to put my colors in. And let's say I like this set of colors. I want to apply them. When I try to apply them, it will apply it to all the gear at once, meaning that all of it will be with these colors, which is something that I feel a lot of people do by going slot by slot, and there is a much easier way. You do have to scroll all the way down, though, and never hit that slider, because if you do, it goes straight back to the top, which is a little bit annoying. Let's move on to the next one. Another really handy tool to know about is colorblind mode. And in here, in accessibility, this is, of course, in the settings menu. Under accessibility, you have to scroll down a little bit. You have this colorblind mode. And one of the options, or well, it has three options. You can actually pick whichever one. They have a little bit different coloring for those that aren't colorblind. For those that are colorblind, of course, these are three different types of colorblindness. So they can pick the one that fits them the best. But once you turn colorblind mode on, there is actually a really handy function. And that is that if you have never used colorblind mode, my chem where it is landing should look a little bit different, because there are now those markers on it where it shows the center point and then like gradients leading out. Same, for instance, for my hive. So you can very easily spot where hive is. You can very easily spot where your chem is landing. You can also, for instance, really easily spot if a mortar is landing on your head. And this is one of the functions that I would wish they would decouple from colorblind mode, because I do not turn colorblind mode on myself, just because it does change the colors, for instance, here on gear sets. as they have gone a little bit a washed out teal color, which I don't like that much, and also leads to a lot of people asking questions about it. But for this functionality, it is very good. And I wish they would just decouple this from colorblind mode so you could just toggle this on by itself. But in the meantime, you can just go into settings, go into accessibility, scroll down, and pick one of the three colorblind modes. And each of them has a little bit of different colors, but all three will provide you with that markings on the ground. And let's discuss the Firestarter, which is the specialization shotgun, of course, for the sidearm slot from Firewall. And as its talent, it has this primer rounds. And what these primer rounds have as their talent is that they have damaged enemies lose 50% burn resistance for 5 seconds. So this means that if you hit them with this, they will lose 50% burn resistance for 5 seconds. That, of course, in, for instance, legendary enemies means that it will burn for longer as they have a lot of resistance. Same for actually as well elite enemies. But what you can use it for as well is, for instance, this Warhound that I have politely stopped and asked to stay here for a second and wait a while and listen. If I try to set it on fire, it of course only takes the hit of the damage, but it shows they're immune and cannot burn. If I instead shoot it once with this shotgun, swap to my Firecam and set it on fire, I actually set it on fire. Although, of course, Warhounds have innate a lot of resistance, and that means that they don't burn for long. So it's not a really handy thing to do, but it can be useful sometimes. And yeah, as Cross up here reminds us, a simple thing that most of us will know, but some won't, and it might be handy to have some of those in here as well, just to teach people. If you're using Sledgehammer, and perfect Sledgehammer in the case of the lefty here, one useful thing you can use for that actually is if you use the fire grenades from Survivalist. It is very powerful with that because if we're applying Sledge, as we've applied it there, if I kill these enemies and the next wave spawns, while I'm holding the lefty, even while they're spawning, even though I didn't throw the grenade at the time, the fire will apply Sledge by itself. And that can be really handy because you can throw it at a door before the enemies spawn already, so that you can prepare when they come out. They will guaranteed be sledged, and of course then the team can mow them down, and even if a next wave spawns, they will get Sledge as well. Although that is a very handy trick, but I feel most people know that. One that is a little bit less known is that, for instance, you can also apply Sledge actually with flashbangs and EMP grenades. In the case of the flashbang, it is actually, of course, a very large radius that even if enemies roll out of it, for instance, hunters, they will still get hit by this because they don't roll further than the grenade goes. And you will see that actually when it explodes, it had a bunch of damage numbers there, and that's the reason actually. The flashbang does do a tiny amount of damage, and because of that, it will apply Sledge, of course, as all of the other damaging grenades will do as well. But also, for instance, the EMP grenade from Technician will apply Sledge as well, as that will do a little bit of electronic damage underneath, and that will still also apply it to non-mechanical things that won't take actual damage from it, but they will still get application of Sledge. Especially, for instance, the foam grenade is really the standout, as it is the only one that doesn't apply Sledge. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. And we're gonna discuss some apparel caches. As of course, we want to open a bunch of them nowadays, as we want to have for new Danny, we want to have a few of these textiles, and you get those, of course, from the apparel caches. And opening them normally is a chore. You open them, it opens up, it does all of this, and then you reveal the item, and then you can open another one. And of course, this is X and space as its inputs as well, which is a dangerous thing to macro, for instance, as that is also the macro to delete all your characters if you delta out. But what you can do as well, and this also can help with macroing, as if we just accept it, when I press and hold X, once we reach this point that this circle is completely filled in, we can actually tap to a next tab and come back. And then if we go back down to the next apparel cache, we can actually pop the next one, do the same, come back, If you especially don't have all of those items as I have them up there with legacy caches and even keys from an event that has ended, and I have all of the items but I still have the keys, which is I think actually a thing should belong in things, but as I am allowed to convert them to normal keys, but I of course will choose not to. But yeah, you can actually open these pretty quickly, and you can then, yeah, it is basically tabbing over, so I'm pressing Q and E on PC, or on controller, I believe it is the shoulder buttons, of course. And basically, whenever the circle is complete, this circle, once it does that, you can actually go back, and you can be pretty quick with this, even doing it yourself. But of course, as well, one of the benefits of knowing this is that you can macro it, because you can press and hold X, you will Q or E, and then Q or E the other way, then down presses all the way till you get to this apparel cache again, how many you need, although you can just keep pressing because it doesn't roll back to the top, so you can macro it that way. Press and hold X again and tab back, and keep going like that. And the benefit of this is if you get delted while this macro is running, there is no spacebar press in there. That will not delete all your characters, as some people will have found out the hard way that, yeah, the other macroing it the other way is dangerous for that case. So in this case, there is no space in there to confirm that you want to delete a character. But yeah, this can help a lot if you're struggling to get your caches down. Although for my case, even though it says 99 plus here, whenever this spotlight isn't here, you can actually see how many caches you have in total, and I have more than 6,000, and I'm not going to do that. I'm perfectly happy with the amount that I have there, and I would recommend you are too, and just open them here and there whenever you need them. And for this next one, we're returning to a thing that we showed in the previous episode here in the bank, as there was this door, and with the button and authorized personnel only, and yeah, I made basically a call to action to see if anybody else maybe has figured it out already. There is actually some advancements that have been made as by Diablo Trev there, who has kindly come into the Discord and showed that actually there is on the side here, if you go into your inventory, this wall, as most walls will actually stop the camera from going through it. This wall does not have that property, and that's actually quite rare, and that's why I hadn't thought about it to do this. As yeah, if you go through it, you see briefly through the wall, and especially if you take a screenshot at the moment that happens, you see that there is actually no ground on the other side, at least not without at the current time. So sometimes you can have lots happening and having it be that it won't load it until the triggers happen, but that's actually quite rare for Division. Division doesn't do it that way, so quite likely this ended up being, you know, likely nothing. We have the answer to, is it something or is it nothing? It is likely nothing, and it was supposed to be helpful, Earl. And as always with things and stuffs, we'll end up with a mission and me showing all of the loot locations, especially in there, and some of the secrets if they exist in there. Today we're going to start with the very first mission of the game. When you start it, you will get to the White House, and then you will be sent to the theater, and then the first true mission is Grand Washington Hotel. And I feel there's a lot of chests in here that a lot of players still don't know about. So yeah, let's go and loot those and talk about them. And for the first one, there's actually, right when you get in, going through the garage entrance, I feel a lot of people miss this one chest. And it's the first chest of the game, really, in a mission. And you should totally get it, because it's well worth it. And as well, there is one secret loot room in this mission. And for that, we'll go over to this dead body over here. And as you see there, it already lines up with a search body. And when we search this body will give us a key. And this key is the Suite 3 card. And later on, we'll return, or we'll reach the point where we'll use it. So yeah, let's move on. And once we start heading up, here there is the first occurrence of a thing that happens a lot in the Division, which is that loot crates are in the toilet. And yeah, we call this toilet loot. And toilet loot is usually the best loot. We'll have another occurrence of toilet loot here as well right away. As of course, there's a key chest here. This one most people I feel know about, but that other one I see a lot of people running by with in the toilet there. And yeah, you should just grab all of the loot, and especially the key chest, of course. Here, moving on into some of Kelso's handiwork, as yeah, this is the reason she ran away. She keeps blowing stuff up, so she's like, likely she blew up something that was important that we haven't even discovered yet, and she ran away. But yeah, there's a chest down here. I feel this chest as well quite often gets forgotten about, and yeah, it's of course well worth getting all of them. And yeah, that one is in the floor below, right underneath there. And then, of course, there is the other chest that I feel everybody gets, which is just this weapon crate here. We'll grab that and then move on forward to the next part. And here we're coming up. And earlier, of course, we picked up Suite 3 keys, the key to Suite 3. So here's Suite 3 to 10. And actually, Suite 3 is right here, of course. And yeah, because we picked up that key, this interact is available. And this interact, of course, lets us go into this luxurious hotel room. It's a 3-star room. It has a really comfy bed, but of course, as well, it has 2 chests in it, which is well worth getting, because if the targeted loot is here, what you're, something you're looking for, you might as well go in here and get these 2 crates as well, and get one final grenade maybe here as well for the boss as well. So yeah, let's move on. And as we head towards the boss fight and head back into sunlight to the roof, there's of course this key chest here. This one I feel everybody knows about, right? And that will actually be the final chest of this run, as there is nothing in the boss room here. So let's go on to our conclusion. And thus we have come to the end of our third installment of Things and Stuffs. I hope you found some of it entertaining, some of it useful, and maybe you learned something new, at the very least, I hope. And yeah, I'll be continuing on making these intermittently here and there, and as I quite enjoy making them. And if you want to contribute as well, as you saw with some of the recommendations of things to show here, came from the Discord, my community Discord, where people can provide things in the Things and Stuffs channel, as they can link and put screenshots there to things and stuffs that may be interesting. So yeah, if you have something, feel free to jump in there and add it to the list, as that's where I grab all of these from. And yeah, I hope you very much enjoyed this, and hope you join me for streams both on Twitch and YouTube, as they are regularly happening. And as well, this video has been completely recorded on stream, so you can see behind the scenes and see how the sausage is made. And lastly, of course, the only thing left is for me to say, have a good night. Hey Kelso, hey Kelso, hey Kelso, Manny's looking for you. Hey Kelso, I've got a list here of things that Manny wants you to ask you. Hey Kelso, 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 Manny's looking for you. Could you call him back? He really misses you. Like, could you just give him a call? It's pretty simple. Just do it for me. Thank you.